Have you ever felt an overwhelming fear of losing someone close to you? This is the fear of being abandoned syndrome, a condition that deeply affects how we form relationships. Symptoms and manifestations. Fear of being abandoned syndrome reveals itself in many ways. People with this fear often feel anxious or restless when their loved ones are not immediately available. They may overthink the smallest changes in tone or behavior, interpreting them as signs of rejection. Some avoid forming deep connections altogether, while others cling tightly, fearing the loss of the bond. In relationships, they may constantly seek reassurance, ask questions like, "Do you still love me?" or "Are you mad at me?" This behavior can sometimes overwhelm their partners or friends, leading to conflict. Physically, this fear can manifest as difficulty sleeping, lack of appetite, or a tight sensation in the chest during moments of worry. Additionally, those affected often have a deep sense of self-doubt and a fear of being not good enough, which makes them overly dependent on others for emotional validation. Unfortunately, these patterns can create a cycle of strained relationships, amplifying the very fear they want to avoid. Due to the underlying cause, the roots of fear of being abandoned syndrome often stem from early life experiences that shape how we perceive relationships. For many, it begins in childhood with inconsistent caregiving. Imagine a child who sometimes receives love and attention, but at other times feels neglected or rejected. This unpredictability creates confusion and anxiety, planting the seed of fear that connections may not last. Traumatic events, like the loss of a parent, divorce, or abandonment, can intensify these feelings. A child who experiences such events might grow up believing that love is temporary or that they must work hard to keep others from leaving. Moreover, the environment in which a child grows up plays a key role. If they witness unstable relationships, frequent arguments, or emotional neglect, they may internalize the idea that relationships are fragile or that they are unworthy of lasting love. Even in adulthood, past experiences can linger. They become mental scripts, leading to constant vigilance for signs of rejection or abandonment. Without intervention, these patterns can deeply influence one's behavior and emotional health. 3. Impact on life. Fear of being abandoned syndrome doesn't just affect relationships, it touches every part of life. In personal relationships, it often creates a pattern of insecurity and conflict. Imagine constantly seeking reassurance, asking your partner questions like, "Do you still care about me?" or interpreting delayed responses as rejection. Over time, this can strain even the healthiest of relationships. At work, the fear of abandonment can make people overly cautious. They may avoid taking risks, hesitate to voice opinions, or feel isolated from colleagues. The constant worry about being disliked or excluded affects confidence and performance. Physically, this fear can take a toll as well. It's not uncommon to experience symptoms such as insomnia, headaches, or even stomach issues, as the body reacts to prolonged stress and anxiety. Emotionally, the sense of unworthiness and fear of rejection often leads to loneliness. Some may isolate themselves to avoid the pain of potential loss, creating a cycle where the very fear of abandonment leads to deeper isolation and despair. 4. How to overcome fear. Overcoming the fear of being abandoned begins with acknowledging and accepting your emotions. This fear is valid, it's your mind's way of protecting you. Start by gently asking yourself, when do I feel most scared of being abandoned? Who or what triggers these feelings? Identifying these patterns allows you to address them more effectively. Step 2 is cultivating self-awareness. Pay attention to the stories you tell yourself. For example, if someone doesn't reply to your message, do you think, "They don't care about me," or can you consider, "They might be busy"? Reframing these thoughts helps break the cycle of fear. A powerful tool is practicing self-validation. Look in the mirror and affirm, "I am enough. My worth is not defined by someone staying or leaving." These small but consistent reminders can reshape your self-perception over time. Learning to set healthy boundaries is also essential. Boundaries are not walls, they're bridges to healthy relationships. Clearly communicate what you need without guilt. For instance, "I feel more secure when we check in regularly. Can we make that a habit?" This fosters trust and mutual respect. In moments of overwhelming anxiety, Try grounding techniques. Focus on your senses. Name 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 you can smell, and 1 you can taste. This exercise brings your mind back to the present, reducing catastrophic thoughts. Physical activity, such as yoga, walking in nature, or even dance, can also release built-up tension. Movement reminds your body that you're safe and helps regulate emotions. Don't underestimate the power of community. Join support groups where people share similar struggles. Hearing others' experiences can reduce feelings of isolation and provide practical advice. Finally, professional help is invaluable. Therapists can guide you through deep-seated fears with evidence-based approaches, such as cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, or eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, EMDR. These methods are designed to heal past traumas and reshape your emotional responses. Encouraging message. If you're living with the fear of being abandoned, remember this: you are not alone, and you are stronger than you think. It's okay to feel vulnerable. These emotions are not weaknesses but signs of a heart that longs for connection. That longing makes you human, and it is something to be embraced, not feared. Every small step you take toward healing matters. Even the act of acknowledging your fear is an act of courage. Remind yourself daily, I deserve to be loved and valued, not because of what I do, but because of who I am. Love starts from within, and when you nurture it for yourself, it will naturally radiate outward. Remember, healing is not a straight path, it's a journey filled with twists and turns. There will be moments of doubt and setbacks, but these are not failures. They are opportunities to learn, grow, and rediscover your inner strength. Lean on those you trust. Vulnerability is a bridge, not a burden. Sharing your fears with others can strengthen your bonds and help you feel less alone. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, who remind you of your worth, and who celebrate your journey. Most importantly, give yourself permission to grow at your own pace. Healing doesn't have a deadline. What matters is your commitment to yourself, to finding peace, and to embracing the life you deserve. The future is bright, and you are capable of facing it with resilience and grace. You are worthy. You are enough. And every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory worth celebrating.